Hola familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As you guys can see from the title, today I'm doing my next update of Pan That Face palette. I have my two palettes right in front of me. I have wonderful progress to share with you guys. But obviously, first, let's do the housekeeping. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash for Japan. That is something that interests you. Subscribe. Join us. And now let's get on with our face palette update. Today we're doing my Pan That Face palette. I have both my Cover FX palette in front of me as well as my Tarte Pro Glow palette. So obviously I'm going to share with you guys footage of last month to this month. So we're going to start out first with my Cover FX, the Perfect Light Highlighting palette. So in our last update, I had finished off the two left side here, Celestial 1 and 3, the cream and the powder. And then I just had Moonlight. I believe I had the outer part. I had hit a good pan on it. And then I had barely touched Moonlight, which was down here, the powder version. So now, as you guys can see, I have completely finished off the cream of Moonlight. That was actually rather easy to finish that one off. And then I have significant pan in the powder version. That was a shocker to me as well. I was using this again evenly. You guys could see where I could hit my brush, and I was using it pretty evenly. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I hit pan, it just grew overnight because of the way I was wearing it down. This is a nice highlighter. It's not bad at all. I actually like it. It's getting a little bit lighter for me already because we are getting more hotter days, which means I'm outside more with soccer and things for the kids. So I'm trying to stay under an umbrella, but sometimes it's kind of hard. But I am happy I'm almost done with it because I have a feeling this may not work for me much longer. I could tell it really sticks out on my cheeks whenever I wear it, but I do mix it with other highlighters to kind of help it out so it works out in the end. So this is almost gone, you guys. I have a feeling next month, this whole entire palette will be finished. So this palette took me 6 months to finish up. Wow, that's actually pretty good. I didn't expect it to be that way. So I'm almost done. You guys can see I've torn this palette up like crap. It's horrible. I will eventually clean it off for you guys, but right now it looks terrible. So I'm on track. I'm on track to finish this palette off. I'm very excited about it. I will talk to you guys in the end what my thoughts are going forward. But yeah, so far I am on track with this one, and this palette should be done next month. Now let's move on to my Tarte Pro Glow. Last month I had finished off the cream version of this palette, like the cream contour version. And that was my goal first off, to finish off the cream because I didn't want the powders to land on the cream product and then I get a creamy contour kind of hot mess. So now, as you guys can see off of what I'm showing you guys, I am using this highlighting palette, but I don't have much to really show you. It's just being used, like today I'm using the color Stunner, which is one of my favorites. I actually have this in a single on my cheeks, and you guys can see it's really, really pretty. I do like it. I have to mix Strobe with one of the deeper shades because I can't use this one on its own. It's way too light for me right now. Lit is a different formula. I feel like Lit is more of a sheer sparkly kind of formula. It's not as vibrant on my cheeks. It's different. You see how it looks different from this one? It's a little bit more chunky than the rest. Fire is awesome. I love Fire. I didn't think I would love Fire. It's a deeper, bronzier shade, but it works so well mixing it with the other ones and even on its own. Like right now, that looks good on me. And then Stunner is my favorite one. Stunner, I have this in a single. As you guys can see, it is getting a little bit lighter on me, but it is like bam in your face. Here it is right here. Can you see that? See the difference? This is the lightest one. Then we have Lit. Then this one's Fire and Stunner. So all I've been doing is just mixing these, to be honest with you. I don't really have any that are like my favorite. Fire right now is kind of grounding the rest of them out for me because Fire seems like to be the one that I thought wasn't going to work at all, but it seems to be working the best mixing it with the other ones because it's more of a bronzy shade. I don't know where I'm going to be with this palette at the end of the year. I can tell you right now I'm not going to finish them. I'm not going to finish any of these highlighters, but I will have at least some sort of usage on them, which I do appreciate. Sculpt, I have yet to touch. I don't know. I don't know. I've never been a fan of sculpting my face. I've never felt the need to sculpt my face. Some of you may argue and think I might need to sculpt my nose, but to me, I don't care. Like, I've accepted who I am. Like, I don't need the sculpting. Like, unless it's like specifically for like a photo shoot or specifically for a look I'm going for, I don't like to add more unnecessary powders to my face, especially in the summer. I like to keep my face light and airy because it just gets too humid and it's just too much. The sculpting powder I could see myself using only for like special occasions where I want that chiseled look because it's an evening thing. But nowadays, what are we doing in the evening? My rear end is sitting on the couch, having a bowl of popcorn, watching TV. I'm not going anywhere. So for me, the sculpting powder is just not necessary. So I'm not really concentrating on that one. I'm more concentrating on the 4 highlighters that are in this palette. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. So for next month, I'm just going to continue to incorporate these in my everyday looks. I do pull out some highlighters in my Shop My Stash that I like to mix with these to change it up. Use these on like my higher points. Use the one that I have for my Shop My Stash down in the lower points, or on the bridge of my nose, my chin. You know, I use it for different kind of ways so I can incorporate this palette in my routine, but I'm not necessarily trying to aim for a specific goal of hitting pan or trying to finish up one of these highlighters. All right, guys, so let me wrap it up for you guys with both of these palettes so then you guys kind of see where I am at this point, because I did mention this in a therapy session. I'll link it up in the iCards if you want to check that out, because I have been having some thoughts about this project pan. Now, first I have a feeling this is going to be done next month. So I know I can roll this out next month and I should be done. This should be only with me until the end of June and then it's done. I should be able to have that as an empty. This palette will be here for the rest of the year. I can tell you right now, this palette will be here for the rest of the year. There's a lot of product in here. These highlighters are very in your face. Like, there's not many that are in here that are, I could say, are subtle. So a little bit goes a long way. So, and I'm not going to purposely dig in here or try to put a ton on my face just to get usage or show usage on my palette. So this is going to be here for the rest of the year. Now there is a palette, a face palette that I am contemplating on rolling in after this one is done, just to have 2 palettes in for the rest of the year in this project pan. Now I know this is rather early for me to talk to you guys about it, but since we're already almost halfway through doing this project pan, I've realized that going through my face palette collection, I don't have many face palettes that are going to be easy to pan or not be long term. So it's I don't know if this project pan is going to get boring for me and for you guys to watch. So I may have to change it up where I may do like 2 face palettes a month next year, not necessarily trying to finish off a face palette or try to incorporate one where I really do want to finish and then just keep rolling a different one every month. I have realized that, again, there comes a point in my collection where the things that I have are very difficult for me to finish, very difficult for me to hit pan on, unless I am really using that product, and it has to be used for like over a year. So I don't know if this project pan will continue on my channel just because I've gotten to that point with my face palettes. A lot of my face palettes are very difficult for me to use, or they're so pigmented, or there's a lot of product in them that I don't necessarily want to force myself or come to that point where I'm digging into my products or I'm like piling it on my face just to show usage or pan in things. My ultimate goal at this point going forward in my collection, now that I've really realized that a lot of the things that I have are long term, it's more of me showing my collection as being used and abused than necessarily using things up. So I think that's where this may happen with this project pan, where I may end up having to not even do this and just incorporate my face palettes in my Shop My Stash and just get my face palettes to look more used and abused than necessarily hitting pan. And if I do see one that's almost done, I can always roll it into like my deck of panning or my project graveyard or other project pans that give me that opportunity to be able to roll something and that's basically almost done. That's where I'm at this point, you guys. I only have 2 cream face palettes that have cream in them, and they're they're not even 6 months old. So I don't feel the need that I have to use them and force myself to use them before they go bad. Everything else is powder and they last a long time. And I feel confident enough that I'm comfortable to know that I can get to that point. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. This is very preliminary with this project pan. And I wanted to put it out there because it gives me 6 months to think about it. And maybe you guys might come up with a good idea that I don't know about. But that's where I'm standing with this project pan right now. I'm getting to a point where it's going to be more usage and abusing than hitting pan and finishing up. Because it's just going to be unrealistic for me. And I don't want to be boring. And that's where I'm getting at with this palette is my prime example. This palette's not going to get finished, and I don't even know if I'm going to hit pan on these. And it's just going to be boring showing you guys this every single month. Like, oh, look, I just have a little bit more usage on it. So I'm just thinking ahead. And I'm okay with that because I have other project pans that are just as fun. But I'm happy because that's what my project pan journey was about, is to get to a point where I don't necessarily have to do too many project pans because I'm comfortable with the amount of stuff that I have that I know will be used and abused. So anyway, that's just my thoughts, you guys. Leave me down any suggestions, comments, whatever down in the description box. I know you guys are amazing with that. So I appreciate you guys listening to me this month. I know it was rambly, but yeah, that's where we stand with this one, you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll put more videos over here for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.